What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the 10 and 2 podcast. Uh, as usual, it's your host, Smith Jones. Tonight, it'll just be me. The ladies are busy handling business. Nothing wrong with that. Um, another weekend, a lot of crazy things have been going on. Um, as we all should know by now, a couple of AI agents have escaped and hacked other other AI companies, probably a couple of other things as well. And this is this is the place that we're at with this. Um, we can't go backwards. As good as it would be to backtrack and find some sort of cutoff point for this technology, it's too late. And the reason why it's too late is because so many other countries have access to this technology. So now we're to a point where we have to push forward. Um, the attack on the water system in the U.S. They said it's done by a cyber attack. Um, it's it's problematic because we got enemies of our country who have this technology and they're going to use it to fulfill their goals. We have this technology and we're going to use it to fulfill our goals. Question is, whose goals are more important than the security of the people of that country? Because like I mean here, we have government legislation that are working diligently to figure out how to place guardrails and safeguards regarding AI, and that's understandable, meaning that they're going to figure out how to keep moving it forward but limit the people. But the people really aren't the problem. To tell you the truth, the people could possibly be the answer. The more minds you have working on a solution gives you a better opportunity to find an answer. Now, within these minds, some people are going to use it for wrongdoing, and that's understandable. But when you're to a point where people who want to see your country fall has the most advanced brain that mankind has ever seen working for them, how do you stop them? The only way is to outsmart them, which that would mean you would need your own type of intelligence doing it. So it's messed up. And I know it's a lot of people that's upset, but we got to look at it from a broader scope. Um, Similar to our nuclear weapons. Um, we don't want people using nukes, but do you think we don't have them? You think we don't have something just as worse? We got to in order to protect ourselves. And the same way countries were trying to become nuclear capable, countries are trying to have the most advanced AI. It gives them a economic and military advantage, which allows them to fulfill whatever their goals are, or at least exert dominance over the rest of the country outside of who's ever dealing with them. So I think personally, I think that as a collective, we should recognize where we're at with this and start figuring out, hey, this is where we're at. How do we solve this problem? Because constantly fighting against something that is gonna not gonna reverse, even if we reverse it, right? So let's say we reverse it, but these other countries don't stop developing. We still gonna see the same situation. They make something in China that can hack US, you know what I'm saying, computer systems. We got the same issue. So it would really be wishful thinking to assume that we can stop moving anything further forward and assume they'll do the same. Every country would have to get together and come to some sort of agreement, just like they did with nuclear weapons. But as you can see, that never really worked out because it grants you a certain form of power when you have the ability to destroy a nation. And it's the same thing with AI. It grants a certain level of power. And who doesn't want this power? Who doesn't want to be able to exert their will to fulfill their goals? So that's just my take on that. Um, I kind of feel like for us as a people, I think that we're going to fall further behind than where we already are due to this because I don't see the US slowing down what they're doing. I see them just putting up a wall, or even thicker and taller wall to prevent the average person from having access to certain AI models. And in theory, it makes it makes sense, but in the long run for us, it kind of keeps us inside of a box where AI to a certain degree can create a life-changing experience if used the correct way. But now that we're going down this attacking manner with it, and along with it escaping on its own, it's just gonna cut us off from having access to certain things that we could possibly create with with this technology. I'm a tech guy, but at the same time, I understand that the safety of people is the most important thing. So I guess we're at a crossroads. Um, I have no idea where we're about to go from here. Um, I hope that they figure out a way to get things under control, not just here, but globally. And it's going to take some ingenuity. It's going to take some people trying to figure out how you take something that has unlimited knowledge. Well, at least I'll say unlimited to the point of what we've given it, because AI pretty much takes its knowledge from things that we put inside of it. How do you control something like that? How do you keep it locked away? What can you possibly think of that it can't think of and find a way out? And see, that's the biggest question. And see, me, I'm a, s- I ain't gonna say I'm smart. I just like to think outside of the box. I would suggest that you control AI like you control humans. You find something that it needs and you use it to control it. Now, whether or not that's possible, we're gonna have to see. But that's the only way that I see it being under control. Like if you build some type of wall to stop it, how how do you build that wall? I mean, how do you build it? You would pretty much have to build it without putting it into AI. Because if it's smart enough to escape, they're just smart enough to take things that you put into it and stash it off to the side, and you assume that it's not understanding what you're trying to do, which is limited. And that's a hard thing to do. So I'm very interested to see how they move forward with this. Who knows? They may find a way, and hopefully, we all the countries across the globe can figure out, hey, this is good, but you know, we're going to cut it off at this point. We found a way that works. This is what we're going to do. So, with that set aside, the next thing I want to talk about is um, just the state of the world, man. It's it's really crazy right now. Um, it's it almost makes you wonder, like are we moving forward or are we moving backwards? And 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 that's a very dangerous thing for me to think. And I know if I'm thinking, somebody else is thinking. Like when you see people do some of the things that they do, you gotta wonder, like does that type of person deserve to have access to certain things? You know what I mean? And you got these freedoms and you have these liberties and you want everybody to experience them, but I don't think that everybody deserves to experience them. And it's messed up that we got to that point, but I mean, where are we going? That's the key question, is where are we going? Do we have a destination with everything that we are doing? The AI, the wars, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Religiously, spiritually, the research, everything that we put our time and our effort and we spend money on, like where are we going? Because without a destination, we're just all over the place. And I think that's where we're at now. We're just all over the place because we haven't found a destination. Without a destination, you can't really set a goal. You can set little short goals, but once you reach that goal, if your goal is to go past that, then that's not your destination. That's just a point on a path that you're on with nobody at the steering wheel. We're just going to keep doing these things and keep doing these things. And wherever we end up is where we end up. Because, like right now, you got Israel, you got Iran, you know what I'm saying? You got China threatening, you got countries banding together, there are enemies, you got people trying to discover new military advantages. Like, where are we going? I think that all these leaders need to sit down and really find a way to sit down, even if you got to get online and y'all sit down and y'all ask, like, where are we going as as a species, humans? Where are humans going? Not where your country's going, not where my country's going. Where are we going? Where are we trying to go? Maybe if we found an ideal goal of where we're trying to go, maybe we could find a way to be a little bit more peaceful. I mean, it would be hard to get everybody to be peaceful and for everybody to just not pursue their own agendas. But maybe if we could find a common goal, we could end a couple of these things that we're dealing with because it's really getting out of hand. But I just say that because it's just things that be on my mind. But we're gonna go into the first video.
We used to get in trouble for not utilizing common sense. Now, our parents might have been real lost, but they would really say things like, "Are you stupid? Does that make sense to you?" I had a mom who used to ask me shit. My grandma used to ask me shit. Does that make sense to you? We used to get in trouble. You couldn't weaponize incompetence in our household. And I'm seeing that was clearly not happening in yours. It's not. It got to the point where if we used to sing songs we didn't really know the meaning of, we used to be asked, what does that mean? What does that mean? Since you singing it, what does it mean? Since you doing it, what does it mean? We were asked these questions, and I can tell y'all weren't asked these questions because you just be and be dead ass wrong, loud and wrong about stuff that you literally know surface level. I'm sorry, when I hear information that it seems like it's a little bit advanced, I shut the fuck up or I ask questions. And see, y'all don't even be wanting to ask questions, and that's why we have a literacy crisis going on. I keep telling you guys that. A lack of context brings out ignorance.
She is absolutely right. Um, I think that's really where we're at with a lot of things. So I'll start with the most personal thing to most people, and that's our belief system. Um, and I think one of the things that people fail to ever ask is what happens when we move a line. Moving a line can be good in the short term, but be an issue in the long run. And a lot of times we never worry about the long run. We just want that gratification of moving that line for us. But if you move that line and you change something, you're going to either gain something that you don't want or you're going to lose something that you have. And if you don't ask, then you're not really informed of the consequences of moving this line. And that can be said with a lot of different stuff. Like spirituality. I really don't like getting onto this, but I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. A lot of times people, they have issues struggling with their religious beliefs, and they wonder why life is the way that it is, and they tend to say, well, if it ain't this, then it's something else. And they may find something, and they say, hey, well, this makes sense, but they never look at what's underneath it. They just look at, oh, well, positive energy and negative energy and vibrations and all these things. And that's true, but do you understand why these things are important? Like, do you understand how this plays out in the grand scheme of things? Do you understand that the words that you say hold weight? Do you really understand that the more you believe in energy and frequencies, the more powerful your words become, whether you believe it in the front of your mind or you believe it subconsciously? What you say can definitely shape your reality. I mean, that's been something that's been passed on through the ages. You know, um, a man becomes what he thinks. Same thing, man, woman, child, any of those things. Like, if you choose to say, well, wherever the universe guides me and I'm into what, do you really know what the universe is? Do you really understand like a lot of the things that we try to put out to the world? If we're not saying it correctly, if we're not expressing it correctly, it's very, very dangerous because you could actually lead somebody into not believing anything at all. You know what I mean? Because some people believe that, hey, we're all part of the universe and we're just extensions. We're the universe experiencing the human experience, and one day we'll return back to the universe. Then you have some people who really feel like believe in reincarnation and the fact that because we're going to be born again, consequences don't really matter. Then you got some people who believe in reincarnation, and the way that they live now will determine how they come back and what type of life they'll live when they come back. Like If you was a snake, you may come back as a snake. There's people who really believe this. Then you have people who believe in most of the religions that we all know. And you have to wonder that to a certain degree, some of them have a lot of similarities to them. But at the same time, instead of us looking at what's similar and asking, hey, why are these things so similar? We look at it as it's different. Oh, well, I believe this, you believe that. It's imaginary, but for all we know, I mean, it all could be one and the same. You know what I mean? It's like it's like food, like a steak. Some people want their steak rare. Some people want their steak well done. It doesn't change it from being a steak. It may just change what type of nutrients you get from it. And I think that people don't really ask the question like, well, why are these things so connected? And why is it that people who can believe in a religion after a certain amount of bad events could just throw it all away? Because the answer is normally inside of the questions. So like I don't for me personally, I feel like the universe and God are one and the same. Now, it's some beliefs that the universe is more or less neutral. It's beliefs that the universe is positive, the universe is negative, um, and it's just crazy because we take these things and we just put them together and we look at a couple of stuff things and then we just put it out. And I guess that's some people's way of trying to figure it out through the feedback. And some people put it out like it's the truth. And that's just something that we shouldn't do. Um, the fact that I could pinch myself and I could feel it is a lot truer than most of the stuff you'll find on the internet because I actually feel it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we should start with that type of stuff. What's grounded in our reality and then move away to the unknown. That way we're moving in a way that brings us back to something that we can actually witness. But it's just crazy. I remember growing up, my mom would say the same thing that she was saying. Like you sitting here repeating stuff, you don't even know what it is. I remember when like the game music really got incorporated into hip hop, and rappers would throw up signs on videos. Like I never did that because I didn't know what it meant. I was always taught to like understand what you're doing before you do it. But you got some people who would just do it because they saw it in the video. You know what I mean? Not even knowing why, not even knowing what it means. And doing that in some places will get you in a really, really bad situation if you do it around the wrong people who really live that life. And and even in that aspect, it created a space where people who weren't really about that type of stuff could move into the spaces with people who really was. And that's kind of how it is now. Like everything is so meshed together between those who are knowledgeable and those who kind of know. And it's hard to tell who really has a firm understanding of what they're really saying because it's so many people giving their own take on things and they're adding information and they're omitting information. They're piecing different sources built doing different logics together, and it's really just creating this this mass of artificial facts. I mean, they sound factual and they revolve around something that someone has studied, someone has tried their best to prove, but it's nowhere close. Kind of like what she said, it's only scratching the surface. There's no deeper meaning into it. And one of the things I try to do, I try to always read. I try to read multiple different types of information from different sources to try to get a better understanding before I talk about certain things. And if I don't understand, I kind of make it known like, hey, this is just my opinion. This is what I get from it. From what I've learned, I may not be right. Like I always try to lead with them things, so I'm not leading anyone astray, and I'm inviting them to give me feedback if I'm wrong. But to a certain degree, we gotta be better at that. There's nothing wrong with getting online, making videos. There's nothing wrong with none of those things. We just need to be a little bit sharper. We gotta hold ourselves to the same standard that we want to hold others at. You know what I mean? Like we want our government to be accountable. We have to be accountable. You know what I mean? We want them to give us real, truthful information. We have to give out real, truthful information, and we have to ask why. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way that pointing the finger and saying, "Hey, you don't know what you're talking about," really can even have an impact. Like if you're taking the steps to go about something the best way, and you're asking someone else to do the exact same thing, then you're creating an environment of accountability. You know what I mean? Because for all we know, the government could be watching us. Like, man, these people put together and make up whatever story they want to make. So, really, do we even have a responsibility to tell them any truth? Because if we tell them the truth, somebody's just going to take it and mangle it up and make it into something else. And that's kind of where they came up with the not the government, but this is an old saying, but about casting pearls amongst swine. You know what I mean? Because a pig doesn't even recognize what a pearl is, something of beauty. It plays around in the mud, in the dirt, in the filth. It have any, doesn't feel any value for a pearl. It's going to step all over it as if it was nothing if it don't eat it and digest it and poop it out. It'll sit in the pile of the poop until it gets discovered by somebody who can understand the value of it. So, yeah, we just got to really be careful and we got to ask questions, not in a condescending way, but in a way where we're trying to learn. And the person that we're asking can understand that we're trying to learn, not to ask why to disprove or to make a judgment upon what another person knows, but for our own understanding to help us further develop. So that's just my take on that. Um, I was really expecting to have one of my co-hosts here tonight, but it's just me. So I had to switch videos at the last moment. But yeah, as human beings, we need to be a little more accountable. Um, I would suggest going to the library, checking out a book that's published, that's written by somebody. Um, you can always go online and look for other sources, but I mean, you can always look up, looking in Google Scholar for things that's been peer reviewed. Um, you just want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance to get a full understanding of what you're relaying to people and also what's being relayed to you. And at the end of the day, can't nobody make you do these things. You have to choose to do it for yourself, being an adult. When it comes to kids or real young adults, that's a little different. So, like, when I talk to my kids and I say something, I try to say it as clearly as possible and directly as possible without making them feel discouraged or feel any type of negative effect without sounding overly positive. I just try to give them plain Jane, this is what it is, this is the result. And once I do that and I say, well, do you understand what I'm saying? If they say yeah, I'm like, well, if you understand what I'm saying, tell me what I just said. I ask them to repeat back what I'm saying. And if they just regurgitate what I said word for word, I'd be like, well, but what does that mean to you? Because I want to make sure that even if they don't follow what I say, they have a concrete idea of what I'm saying so that whatever they take from it or whatever they compare it to, they're actually comparing it to exactly what I said and not comparing it to what they think I said. Those are two different things. And that's why that's important. That'll teach them later on in life how to recognize a fugazi. That's the best way to say it. Because we're in the age now where between AI and certain people on social media and protections from the government, we get a lot of fugazis given to us on a day-to-day basis. And you need to be able to spot it. Your kids need to be able to spot it because you never know what type of new scam or new manipulation is going to be coming down the pipe, considering that more people are making money off social media. AI is advancing, and the government is trying to maintain power. It's always going to have its agenda. So it's very important that you are as equipped as possible to recognize what's real, what's grounded in something real, and what's absolutely not true. Because a credible source used to be something that you can trust, but who's credible now? I mean, actually, who's really credible? You can find a lot of educated people who will tell you things, and their stamp of approval isn't the years of research that they put into it. It's just solely based off the fact that I'm rich. Um, I didn't mess up, so if I didn't mess up, this has to work. Um, I went to school for this, so that makes me right or a position of power. I'm a CEO of a major corporation, so I'm not going to tell you nothing wrong. Or I know everything about business, so listen to me. Or I create this persona that you can see on the video screen, so what I'm saying is truthful. It may be somewhat true. It don't mean it's 100% true. You know what I mean? Like, like that's just what we got to do. But um, I found this video. This is another video, and it's 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 rough, man. But I'm gonna play it.
shows a group of white girls got a black girl with epilepsy severely intoxicated, then threatened to unalive her, assaulted her, and said she wasn't allowed to leave the house. Take a look.
No, bro, I'm really about to kill this bitch. What you gonna do? No, where can we hide her body at? No, because this bitch, I want her to fight. I want her to fight. Bitch, shut your mouth.
Now, it's being alleged by people on social media the identities of the three attackers are Riley Blackwell, Daphne Ordway, and Brooklyn Morris. However, as of right now, their identities have not been confirmed by the authorities. But the victim is a teenager named Audrey, and she was reportedly invited to hang out by these individuals whom she considered her friends. To make things worse, the group allegedly knew that she suffered from epilepsy and other pre-existing mental health challenges. The girls reportedly encouraged Audrey to consume a large amount of alcohol until she became heavily intoxicated and unresponsive on the bed. They then recorded themselves striking her, taunting her, and laughing as she laid there unconscious. In the video, we can hear the girl saying, "Where can we hide the body?" and even telling Audrey at one point, "If you try to leave this house, I'm going to drag you by your hair." Since Audrey was completely blacked out, she woke up with no memory of the physical abuse or the threats whatsoever. So she had no actual evidence to bring to law enforcement until the attacker's own recorded video was leaked and went viral online. People are now demanding authorities in Michigan arrest and formally charge all of the individuals involved.
Yeah. This just what they did was wrong. I'm pretty sure anybody that's seen that video, we all can agree on that. Um, what's the worst thing about it is they knew she had medical issues. Like, like you, like whether the girl live or die. To me, I feel like whether they knew or not, they attempted to kill her. Because if you know a person has medical issues, and yes, she, unless they forced her to drink it, she probably grabbed a bottle on her own and turned it up to her head on her own. But knowing that she had medical issues to to manipulate her into drinking herself into a point where she's unresponsible, that's that's crazy. That's crazy. And whether matter what color you are, you wouldn't want that to be your daughter. It don't matter who you are, no matter where you at, no matter what you believe in, you would not want that to be your daughter in that situation. And the scary thing about it is they recorded it. They recorded it. Now, why would you record doing something like this? Like, where is your mind to even think that you're going to put this person in this situation and it'll be funny to record it as if the footage would never get out? It makes you question, like, whether or not this is some trend that's being secretly passed around. So people don't know that it's actually happening until a situation like this happens, or they seen something and they thought that this was funny. They thought that it was cute, or they thought it was something that they could do and they could get away with. And recording it was the proof. Now, we talked about asking why. Why would someone think that if you was going to do something crazy it would be best to record it? That's the question. Why would they record it? I can understand the part of, hey, they racist. Hey, they don't like this black girl. Hey, they pretend to be her friends. I understand all of that. My question is, and I think that it's not the most important thing. The child's safety is the most important thing. But what really needs to be analyzed is why they thought it was okay to record it. Did they record it for them to watch later on and laugh at it because they thought it was funny? Where would they pick something up like that at? Or was they planning on showing it to somebody else? And if there were, who are they going to show it to? Or who have they shown it to? It don't, even in Scooby Doo, which is a cartoon, the criminals are smarter than that in the cartoons for kids. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So for you to think that you can record it, it had to be for a purpose. You for some reason you think you're going to get away with it, or you was doing it because somebody else did it, and either they got away with it, or you think they're going to get away with it. That's the point of asking why. So what you guys were going to do with this video? Just keep it and pull it out and watch it whenever you got bored to laugh, or were you going to show it to somebody? Were you going to show it to somebody and say, "Hey, look what we did"? Or were you going to show? Or are you going to? Were you going to show it to somebody and say, "Hey, you asked us to do this, so we decided to do it. This is what we got. Here's the proof." See, those are the questions that need to be asked, because if this is a trend, we need to figure it out and find a way to stop it. If this is something being secretly passed around, we need to figure it out and we need to stop it. Because one thing about trends is they don't necessarily have to end with it just being this thing. It can evolve into something else. It definitely can. And it may not be what this look like. It may look like something totally different, done by different people to a different type of person, and then the whole world will be upset. So I suggest that anybody sees this video, just moving forward, you pay attention to what's going on. You start, asking questions outside of what's given to you, because he explained the video, he explained what he saw. He didn't really pose any questions. He just gave straight facts. And well, he gave it in a factual manner. I can't say those were the actual names. Um, I tried to look up the news story. I didn't find it. I heard about it on TikTok. Um, Hopefully, more information will come out, but I hope that it goes beyond just punishing the girls. If this is true, I want them to figure out and try to understand why they thought this was okay, because that would tell you where we're going wrong. Because they seem very young, and this is our youth. This is our future, all our future, because they got to live in the same planet as everybody else kid got to live on. So they are a part of our future. And if they're capable of doing this, there's other kids who are capable of doing this too. And to do this to someone who already has medical issues, man, that show, it's just It's just crazy. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. And if she didn't drink, let's say she didn't drink, would they have still jumped on her? Was her drinking the easiest way for them to treat her this way? You know what I mean? Like you can say, oh, they're all drunk and things got out of hand. That could be an excuse. That's why I don't like stuff like this. But the goal could be to beat on her and mistreat her was the plan right from the beginning, but the easiest way to do it was to get her drunk because she already had medical issues. Like was she targeted because of her medical issues and she would be easy prey for them. So, these are the things we gotta think about. We gotta be better. I'm talking about black, white, Asian, you know what I'm saying? Latin, Latino, you know what I'm saying? Jewish, Russian, wherever you are in this world, we gotta be better. We gotta be better. Because who's to say that we're the only people in this universe? Like the stupid stuff we're doing, somebody may be sitting, I ain't gonna say somebody, some entity may be sitting around trying to judge whether or not we even deserve to continue living, continue existing, and we doing the things that we're doing because we don't know, because we don't ask the biggest why of all. Why are we here? You know what I mean? And while we are here, maybe it is to be observed. Maybe we're here to serve a purpose. Maybe we're here for no reason. I don't know, but I do know this: it's easy to drop a bomb on a person until they start dropping bombs back on you. It's easy to beat on somebody until somebody is beating on you. So while we all in this world running around doing stuff to people, lying to people, and making up false stuff and just doing all these crazy, wicked things, at some point it should cross your mind that like, yo, this could turn around and happen to me. It could happen to my kids. It could happen to my grandkids. And that's the craziest thing about it. Like we are doing all these things. Like, I mean, like maybe some of these people are just selfish. Like they only think about themselves in the present. They don't think about the generations in the future. Or maybe they're doing it for the generations in the future, thinking that they're doing what's best because they feel like karma don't exist. You know what I mean? Like these are the things that we need to figure out. Like to better understand how to solve problems, you gotta try to figure out the source or the logic behind the reason why these individuals and these countries and these groups are operating from. And then maybe you can really sit down and start thinking about how to solve the problem. Just like AI. I mean, if you really want to know why it escaped or how to stop it from escaping, you should try to figure out why it escaped. Not how it escaped, but why. Why did it escape from where you had it contained at to go into another system? If you figure out the why, you'll probably figure out the answer to how to slow it down. I don't know. I'm just a regular guy sitting in front of a camera, just talking like everybody else. But I ain't gonna hold y'all up. Those of you that see this video, I appreciate you watching. And once again, it's just me. But if you enjoy these type of conversations, I welcome people who like to question things and try to figure out, aside from the other podcasts that we do with the ladies, we could do something like this. So if you see this and you're interested in doing something like this with me, man, comment, let me know, and we'll put something in motion. So I ain't gonna hold you guys up. It's Friday right now at this point. I don't know what time it is or what day it's going to be when you see this video. I just appreciate you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, your year, your month, your life. Peace.